Greetings and welcome back to Doctor Who Revisited, my ongoing series where I go through every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way up to 2022 and review them. And this next one that I have to talk about is The Crusade, another historical episode, and unfortunately, it's another missing episode. However, thankfully, it is the only missing episode in Season 2. And also, thankfully, not all four parts of the four-part serial are missing. Episodes 2 and 4 of the four-part serial are the ones that are missing. So I suppose we'll have to address that when we will. But overall, it's an okay historical episode. It's not one of my favorites. It's one of those episodes from the classic series where you can see that there was a lot of heart put into it, especially with the costume designs and the set designs, and even the writing. The story was really good. Again, not particularly one of my favorites, but at this point you can kind of start to tell that they put all the budget into the big spectacle sci-fi episodes like the Daleks' invasion of Earth and the Web Planet. But for the historical ones, they put really just the heart and soul, because that was Sidney Newman's original vision for the show. He wanted it to be a historical, educational show that really teaches kids about history, and this is one of them. First of all, I'll just address this head on. So far, the only televised Doctor Who episode to take place in the Holy Land, my place of birth, and I'm sorry if that offends you, but yeah, first Doctor Who episode to take place in the region that will one day become known as Israel. So yeah, already winning points for me. Another thing that I would say to this episode's advantage, I will say in this episode's favor, is Julian Glover as King Richard the Lionheart. I don't know much about King Richard because, again, not British, didn't really grow up with that whole sort of mythology in mind. The few stuff I know about King Richard is he's the good king from the Robin Hood movies, right? Is every time that there's a Robin Hood movie and there's Prince John, King Richard, yeah, he's the guy that was played by Patrick Stewart at the end of Men in Tights, right?
Put him in the Tower of London! Make him part of the tour.
So yeah, King Richard the Lionheart, played by Julian Glover of all people, a tremendous actor at the very beginning of his career, and he does a wonderful, magnificent job of portraying this really conflicted character. And another really great actress at the very beginning of her career, Jean Marsh, as his sister Joanna, who obviously later went on to become Sarah Kingdom and Morgaine in Survival, the last episode to feature the Brigadier in Doctor Who specifically. I just loved seeing those guys on screen together. And even though we don't really get to see a lot of their scenes together because some of them were cut because of the whole missing episodes, I just love their conflict, and they've got really good chemistry as siblings in this episode. Unlike some of the other episodes in Season 2 that I went over already, it's one where, for the majority of it, the Doctor and companions really stick together, except for Barbara for obvious reasons. And then obviously there's the whole Ian going to try and fetch her, and she was captured by Saladin. And first of all, Saladin is actually a figure that I'm a little bit more familiar with from history. I've actually been to his island, or rather an island named after him. I've been to a hotel named after him. So yeah, I know who Saladin is for the most part. And they really did manage to nail this character. Again, even though we're dealing with 1960s production value and the whole casting white actors as Middle Eastern characters, it's a thing, just accept it. It's one of those episodes where, more so than most, you really do get a sense of they were treating this as if it were a live stage performance, where in those cases, in those types of environments, you really don't have much of a choice. You're just limited by the actors you have at the time. So that's really what they did with Saladin and Safadin and Alakir and all the other Middle Eastern characters. And first of all, again, the Middle Eastern setting, as someone who does live and grew up and spent his entire life in the Middle East, I think they really nailed the feel of a Middle Eastern city, specifically Jaffa, a city that I have been to multiple times. Can't remember at the moment if they do go to Jerusalem in this episode. I think they don't. Speaking from experience, there is a bit of a distance between Jaffa and Jerusalem. I think overall the architecture and the way that they made the marketplaces and the houses feel very, very of its particular region, it was pretty well done. I have to say that it was really, really well made. I love the little scene with the mufletas, if you know what those are. But overall, like I said, really, really good attention to detail as far as the historical part of it goes. And just Alec here as the villain. Again, Saladin and Safadin, not necessarily the villains in this episode. Alakir is the major villain. And what a despicable villain he is. It's one of those villains in Doctor Who where there's really just no redeeming qualities about him. And I think that's a really good thing. Sometimes you need these villains that you can just hate them for who they are and what they do in the episode, as opposed to try to force in a redemption arc for some of them. I much prefer that. And again, these episodes with redemption arcs are a bit more complex and complicated, but sometimes, every once in a while, I do appreciate these more simpler one-note villains. And Alakir really does manage to be a bit of a threat for the majority of his scenes that he's in. But again, like I said, not really one of the best episodes in this season. It's definitely one of the weaker ones, but even then, it's a really, really good one, and one that I really do appreciate. It's not my least favorite William Hartnell era episode by a long shot, but you know, it's not very much up there for me personally. Maybe one of these days I'm just going to sit down and do a tier ranking list of all my favorite William Hartnell era episodes, but that is a story for another time, I suppose. Got only 7 more episodes from season 2 to go over, so I guess I better go ahead and review them, and this is what I think about the Crusades. Solid episode, not really a highlight for the season for me. So thank you for watching if you have, and I'll see you in some of the other reviews I'm going to do. Goodbye.
Hi there! Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.